while the country's all fucked up. Why is the country all wrong? Because of the Democrats. So let me back it up. I kind of started my journey into accepting Donald Trump as president when I started my journey into understanding what narcissistic abuse was and what narcissistic personality was. And I didn't know what borderline personality was either. I kind of knew what it was, but I wasn't totally aware of the symbiotic codependent relationship between the two types of personalities. So, you know, a couple years ago, probably about 2016, like right after the election, maybe early 2017, you know, maybe 6 months go by after the election and nothing's really changed. I'm living pretty good in Vegas. I had a dope ass apartment. It was in a high rise, stainless steel, 18-foot balcony. People used to come over all the time. Dope ass pool, dope ass gym, security gate, plenty of parking. I mean, coming from California, it was like my dream. Oh my God, sorry about the bat eyelashes. Okay, I gotta fix this later. Anyway, you know, life is good for me here in Nevada, and life begins to get really good for me under President Donald Trump, right? So the media just keeps throwing at him and throwing at him and throwing at him and throwing at him, and it's one fucking thing after the other. It's Stormy Daniels, it's Russiagate, it's Ukrainegate, it's Tom Arnold making a documentary series on Vice about whether or not Donald Trump hired Russian hookers to piss on the presidential bed, you know, in Russia, or some bed that Obama slept on. Who the fuck cares if he did that? He probably did. He probably did do some sick shit like that. But who the fuck cares? Who the fuck cares? Now that I'm looking back on the situation, I see that maybe Barack Obama really was the Antichrist. Okay? As much as we liked him, as much as we loved him, maybe he really was the Antichrist. Okay? Because he sure was a shit stirrer. He sure did compromise the safety of this country. He sure did compromise the safety of children with his pedophile, disgusting, you know, godfather, Frank Marshall Davis. Go back and look at my origin of pedos and political pedos video. I explain all that shit, okay? I looked at that man's disgusting book myself, and that's the man who raised Barack Obama, and Barack Obama became president. Started studying narcissistic abuse. The first person that I found, and I've been rocking with him ever since because there's no one else who is like this guy, was Ollie Matthews of the Narcissistic Resistance. So he has been carrying me for about 4 years now, okay? And the things that he said about Donald Trump and societal narcissism, I didn't believe it at first. But over time, when over a couple years of him explaining narcissistic abuse and everything that I went through, not just in my childhood, but also with relationships and even in work relationships, friendships, everything, okay? Why do I keep attracting these fucking people? And I don't want these people in my life. I don't want them around me, but there's something vibrationally that keeps attracting. And he explains societal narcissism really well. And he also explains the Democratic Party as narcissists really well. So let me just go ahead and show you who he is. He's actually moving off of the YouTube platform, but he has built almost 28,000 followers on here. I'm pretty sure he's on BitChute. I followed him onto Library, so I use Library as well. I really like it. And I think he's on, I don't know if he's on Vimeo, but just go to his, just go to his about page and all of that's on there. He covers everything. He covers everybody. I mean, he goes in hard. You think I'm brutal? He's fucking savage. He's hilarious. He's funny, and he's real. And I think that he probably heals a lot of people. Like I've definitely healed. I know what to look for in these personality types. I can see it earlier on in the relationship, and I can dismiss it and deflect it and do what I need to do to protect myself from these psychos. So go check him out, especially if you have been in a relationship with a narcissist, or if one or both of your parents were narcissists. I guarantee you're a little bit fucked up in the head. You probably have a lot to work on, but it's probably not your fault. And once you can realize that it's not your fault, then you can backpedal, and it's easier to address all of your pain. And then you can start going on that journey to fixing yourself. So shout out to Ollie Matthews. But in terms of this video, what I really wanted to do was I wanted to get young Pharoh to talk to you about narcissism. And I'm going to show you how the Democratic Party is using and always has used narcissistic abuse tactics to control people. So let's get into it.
The narcissist is, and I'm going to be comparing a narcissist to a psychopath. Now, a narcissist, okay, is a person who is overly driven and caught up in their own image. Okay, they feel entitled. Okay, they seek validation from others, and they don't like to be negatively viewed in the public eye. Okay, now the difference between, a narcissist and a psychopath is a psychopath feels no remorse. A narcissist feels a little bit of remorse. This is where the shame comes in, aka them not liking to be viewed negatively in the public eye. So like a narcissist, they can't be humble. A narcissist is never going to allow another person to, get their shine on. And if they do, then you have to be getting their shine on in a way that makes them feel like they're the reason.
Just like a side note, like I've had guys, like even guys that I've dated, okay? So, guys that should be fucking happy that I even went out with them, okay? Parade me around, they're super, super happy. But then people start, I don't know, they'll take me to a party. And now all of a sudden, I'm the center of attention. Now all of a sudden, I'm the charming one. Now all of a sudden, I'm the funny one who's cracking jokes and cracking beers and like making everybody, have a good time around me. And, playing with the little kids and that all the pets and the animals and stuff are coming up to me because I emit that energy. You know what I mean? And animals like me and kids like me and old people like me and everybody likes me, right? So they'll take me to a party and then that'll happen. And then all of a sudden they got an attitude and they want to leave. And I don't even understand what happened. Really it's that they wanted to take credit. It's like if they couldn't be the center of attention, he had to take credit for bringing me there. You know what I mean? And it's that weird kind of like possession type shit. And I'm going to get into how the Democrats kind of do that to us or did that to us.
Good moment, or they're allowing it. They'll never just let you just be happy. They got to be the reason for your happiness. Right. Now, a psychopath would be like Michael Myers. They'll just kill you. They don't care. They don't care about you going to jail. They don't care about killing you on the news. They're not trying to hide it. They don't feel any remorse. So a psychopath would be like chainsaw. Okay. So know the difference between a narcissist. A lot of narcissists going down. Running around. And a narcissist. Narcissism is not really, let's say, a mental health disorder per se. It's more of a diagnosis. Okay, it's more of just like a term. Okay, that we use for people with these negative conglomerate of traits and habits. And so, boom, let's just jump right in. One thing about a narcissist and how you can tell if your partner is not a narcissist, but they may be toxic because they possess these traits, is they don't know how to love and they don't know how to be wrong. Now you got some people who just.
Can you tell me a time that the Democratic Party has ever admitted to making a mistake? Please tell me. Please tell me when a Democrat has ever admitted to being a dick or ever admitted to being corrupt. If you know, please send me the video.
And stubborn and don't know how to be wrong. I'm not talking about that. So please don't have a prideful and stubborn male or female partner and you trying to use this video against them. That's not the point. Use discernment, be mature. Now, what I mean by don't know how to be wrong, because we're going to go to love last. What I mean by don't know how to be wrong is a narcissist is so caught up in their image, okay, that they'll never be wrong, even if they really are wrong. And then when you tell them that they're wrong, what they'll do is they'll create an excuse for why they wouldn't have been wrong if it wasn't for you influencing them to commit the actions that made them wrong.
For example, let's look at the Democratic presidential candidate run. Okay, it was all about the image. It was a smorgasbord of gay and brown and yellow and multiple genders, okay? It was a smorgasbord of old and young. They had governors, they had spiritualists, they had authors, they had economists, they had businessmen, they had mayors, okay? They had senators. They had them from all over, West Coast, East Coast, all in the middle, North, South. They had the kaleidoscope of options for president. It was all about the image. It was all about the pandering. It was all about the look. They wanted to throw the fucking Sesame Street of presidential debates. That's what that was. It was Sesame Street. And you know why it was Sesame Street, Muppets included? Was because the narcissistic Democratic Party thinks the human race is all children compared to their adult, mature, humanitarian virtue signaling. Do you get the connection? Does it sound familiar?
You might say, hey, you shouldn't have done this. And they might not have shouldn't have done that. And instead of saying, you know what, damn, I shouldn't have did that. Okay? They'll say, what you mean? I didn't do nothing wrong. What I did was perfectly fine.
Now let me know. Was there anyone during the debates that admitted that they made a mistake on anything? If there was, send me the video, because I don't remember seeing it. Think about that. For as much finger pointing, as much as of a fucking circus that turned into. Let me tell you something, okay? Nobody admitted they were wrong. Nobody admitted they made a mistake, okay? Pocahontas didn't admit she was wrong. Kamala Harris didn't want to cop to the things that she did in San Francisco. She had a very short memory, okay? Buttigieg didn't want to admit that he was just a fucking goofball, okay, who was friends with Mark Zuckerberg, okay? And that's the only reason he even jumped in the fucking fight, okay? Because his buddy gave him a little bit of, gave him a little bit of circle jerk down in Silicon Valley. And then he just said, hey, maybe I can do this too, okay? Nobody wanted to admit okay, Bernie Sanders couldn't answer a fucking question. Bernie Sanders couldn't admit that he didn't have a fucking financial strategy for the Green New Deal or anything else that he proposes. He repeats the same record over and over and over and over again. Okay, nobody wanted to admit anything. Democrats are narcissists. Nobody could have just said, you know what, I was wrong 10 years ago. I was wrong 20 years ago. I was wrong when I said that. And I apologize to the American people. Nobody said anything. Send me the tape.
They'll probably try to argue you all the way down about how they didn't do
everything was Trump's fault.
You finally done stressing yourself out about trying to get your point across to show them their error. When they finally do admit it, they'll say, but I would have never did that if you wouldn't have did this. And you the reason you the reason that they did the initial shit that you called them out for doing. Okay? So that's what I mean by that's a narcissistic habit. And the reason that they have that habit is because they are ashamed of being viewed negatively outside of the image that they create for themselves. And they so glued to that perception of themselves.
Why you think
Hillary
kills everybody? She cannot face herself. And she will ruin this entire country before anyone sees her little, drill and screwdriver video with Uma Abedin come to light. I'm not going to watch it. If it ever does, I'm not going to watch it. Okay, young Pharoh showed us an image of it, and that was enough for me. So I'm not going to watch it.
Reality in order to hold the pieces of how they see themselves together. Now, this also rolls down into the love category because a narcissist doesn't know how to love properly, okay? Because they only in love with the fantasy of who they believe they are. And what I mean by that is, this is how you know if you're in a relationship with a narcissist or a toxic person, because you might not be a narcissist, but you might possess these toxic traits. A narcissist or a toxic person, right? You might believe that what they do is they create this image, okay? And this image is the spider web, okay? But the person they truly are is the spider. So let's just make a name up, okay? And I'll make a man's name up since I'm a man. I don't want to, I don't want to say, why you ain't use a female? Because I don't want to tap into the consciousness of a female. I want to stay a male. Thank you very much. With that being said, let's say it's a dude named Daryl. Now, Daryl has this alter image named, let's just say Enlightened Joe, okay? And Enlightened Joe is this
Enlightened Joe.
perfect guy. He knows, all of this stuff, and he's so wise, and he has everything that you would want in a person, right? But you don't know that Enlightened Joe is just the narcissistic image of who Daryl really is. And so Enlightened Joe is the spider web. Daryl is the tarantula that's waiting for you.
Ooh,
okay?
You hear that?
So what happens is you get into this relationship with Enlightened Joe, okay, as a woman. And if you're a woman and you're in a relationship with a narcissistic man, if you're a man and you're in a relationship with a narcissistic woman, flip it. But for right now, I'm using, Enlightened Joe. It might be Enlightened Pam, okay? Flip it. Flip it for how it applies. But right now, continuing on, I'm using a female perspective in a relationship with a narcissistic man. And so what happens is you get in this relationship with Enlightened Joe, but you don't know you're really in a relationship with Crazy Daryl. And so what happens?
Story of my life. Hello, ladies. Okay, been there. The tragic results of being the child of a narcissist as well as an empath. But then I got a mouth on me too. So the narcissist, I mean, it just goes from love to hate so quickly, so quickly. But anyhow, for those of us who grew up in a blue family, a blue community, a blue state, why did we allow ourselves to get sucked into it? Because the left, the progressives, those were the humanitarians. Those were supposed to be the good guys. Those were supposed to be the enlightened ones, not the stuck up, stuffy, traditional, Judeo-Christian, patriarchal. You know, we weren't into that. We were conditioned as young women, as young democratic women, we were conditioned that it was our bodies, our rights. Abortion was like taking a shit, you know, giving, I'm not going to say it, you know, being, you know, sexually experimental at young ages was okay. We were conditioned to believe all of that. We were conditioned to be set up for failure. We were conditioned to be set up to voluntarily reject the family unit because we bought into the women's rights bullshit. Now, I'm going to say something a little controversial. Even with drugs, even with the legalization of marijuana, and as much of a freaking pothead as I am, I smoke all day, every day, since I was, you know, like about 14 years old, okay? But I am now seeing that what happened was everything happens in steps. You see, at first in the 90s, you know, it was all about, oh, you know, nonviolent drug offenders, nonviolent drug offenders, nonviolent drug offenders. We got to let them out, got to let them out, got to let them out. They need rehab, they need rehab, they need rehab. Well, guess what? Nonviolent drug offenders can still be sexual predators. Might not be a violent sex assault, but it could still be a sex assault. Okay. Nonviolent drug offenders are usually fucking thieves. Okay. And just because they didn't put your hands on you doesn't mean they weren't violent. Doesn't mean they weren't terrifying. Doesn't mean you weren't pissing your pants when they came in your store and stole your shit. Okay. And even if they didn't have a gun, maybe they pretended to have a gun. All right. Nonviolent drug offenders are still a fucking problem in society, but we were the humanitarians and we wanted to let them out to go to rehab, not knowing that these rehab centers are a fucking racket. They're a fucking racket. One of these days, I'm gonna tell you a story about an interview that I did at a rehab center here in Las Vegas on fucking Bonanza Boulevard. Okay, to be a sous chef and in their little fucking kitchen. I'm glad I didn't get the job. Anyway, the setup was that we would get desensitized to drug use. And then we were all over the marijuana laws, you know, legalize, legalize, legalize. But now I'm looking at the situation from a broader perspective and I'm wondering, is this part of the new plan here? Is keeping an entire generation stoned, stupid, unable to critically think and on their fucking cell phones 24/7? Is that the plan here? See, now I'm wondering if legalization was really all that good for us. And considering some of these strains, you know what I mean? It's like the weed that we had as kids is not even the weed that we can get now. Do you know how hard it is to get outdoor sun-grown weed, even in California?
This Crazy Daryl has prepped you, okay? And so
for decades. For decades.
You realize that the dream that Enlightened Joe, okay, has presented to you through the puppeteering of Daryl, who's the puppet master behind Enlightened Joe, is really your willingness and ability to play the role in his fantasy, which is in conjunction with his image of his own self, okay? And so Enlightened Joe will love you.
Why do you think Democrats love blacks? Why do you think white liberals love blacks unless we're conservative? Because we don't play into their their need to be humanitarians. We don't play into that shit. Look, I mean, I don't want to show you what it looks like, but I mean, it's a fucking mess right now. I got all this shit. Okay. Do you know that there are people right now? I'm gonna have to do another video about these craft beer niggas. Okay. Everyone in craft beer is talking about how there's no representation in the brewery industry, the beer industry. Okay, well, what is this? What is this? There's no opportunity that's been given to me. I'm making my own opportunity. I'll start with an office, and then maybe I'll get a pop-up somewhere, or maybe I'll get a sponsorship, or maybe I'll get a job as a buyer for some, well, I don't know if the bars are ever going to open up the way they used to, you know. I don't know how much of a future craft beer really has right now, but let's just say, hypothetically speaking, that I did. Okay. One day I'll have, I don't know, a kitchen space. Okay. And if I got a kitchen space, okay, now I can start brewing my own beer, and I can start with like the 5 gallons, you know, and then maybe if that works out, you know, maybe I'll start to, you know, a 6-barrel system. And then, you know, maybe if that works out, maybe I can partner up with one of these breweries that's here, and they'll let me do a guest beer or something like that. You never know what can happen. So why do you say white privilege, white privilege, white privilege, white privilege? Why do you say that all the time? That's bullshit. Okay, everybody starts with nothing. All I do is interview brewers. That's all I fucking do. And you know what? They all started. None of them inherited their breweries. They're all white. And none of them inherited a brewery. They all saved for their breweries. They used their 401ks for their breweries. They put the shit on their credit cards for their breweries. They put their families in debts for their breweries. They can't sleep at night because of their breweries. They don't make money the first 3 years because of their breweries. They have to deal with fucked up canning and fucked up bottling and have to repeat the whole process over again in their breweries. So where's the white privilege? They're taking all the risks. They're putting in all of their own money. They're putting their family's future at risk. And what have these blacks done? They create Instagram pages complaining about the white man holding them back. But they ain't put no skin in the game whatsoever. Mic drop, bitch. Bitches, craft beer motherfuckers. Got something for you.
Be everything you need him to be, as long as you are acting, thinking, and believing and feeling the way that he sees that you should be. And the second that you say, do, or feel, or express anything that distorts the image or the fantasy of Enlightened Joe, now you're the problem.
Sound familiar? Kind of like how all these, you know, all these little white girls, like they love to be feminists and like goddess power, you know, like, oh my God, yes, Karen, yes, I just got out of hot yoga. So all of these bitches, like, they're all about the goddess power. They're all about the girl power until a conservative woman steps in and says, I actually want to have my children and I don't want to have an abortion. Oh my God, you're so patriarchal. Oh my God, like you must hate yourself.
Enlightened Joe is the cause of the way you feel. Let me give you an example. If Enlightened Joe says, I see myself going to the gym every day, okay? And you say, damn, you like to work out? I like a man that like to work out. Woo, that turned me on. And then Enlightened Joe don't go to the gym and he start gaining weight. If you say, why you not going to the gym? You gaining weight. Like, you know, you putting on some pounds. Okay? Enlightened Joe know that. But now Enlightened Joe want to fight you, and you the problem. Okay? Because you are forcing him to acknowledge the image that he is not in tune with in regards to how he see himself. So now you the reason Enlightened Joe not going to the gym. You the reason Enlightened Joe's not...
Sound familiar, ladies? Sound familiar, fellas? Now, I'm not, you know, y'all seen what I look like, you know. I ain't skinny, but I love athletic people. I've run 3 Spartans. I've done, I didn't do a Tough Mudder. I did a Rugged Maniac. You know, I was in CrossFit for a while. Like, I love health. You know what I mean? I think that health is important. I think that health is important in order to avoid having to deal with medical problems and medical chemical dependencies later on. So it's not about aesthetic, okay? I can be with a tubby dude who's sexy as fuck. Like if we're talking like, you know, wide receiver, like fat, you know, if we're talking like football fat, like I'm totally into it. You know, that extra, you know, most men are cool with my extra. It's all good. But don't reel me in by telling me we're going to go outdoors and we're going to go hiking and we're going to go kayaking and we're going to go camping and we're going to be doing shit. And then as soon as we're in a relationship, you want to stay at home and watch TV the whole time? No, boo. I'm going to get bored with your ass real quick. You're going to be dumped real quick. It's going to be over real quick. I'm not going to wait around for you to show that you have the integrity that you say you have. And it's the same thing with the Democratic Party. This is why we're walking away. We waited and we waited and we waited for them to show us the integrity. And they never fucking delivered it. So now we got to go. It's time to move on, y'all.
You his problem. Ever since you came into Enlightened Joe's life, he don't want to go to the gym no more, and you the reason he got low self-esteem, and you are the enemy. Instead of just saying, you know what, baby, I did get a little lazy and get off track, I'm gonna get back on.
Right,
That's what
right. And I recognize that about myself. Like, I'm looking at my cheeks. It's like, man, I was looking at pictures of myself 6 months ago. I was like, damn, I was hot. What happened? You know, you have to take responsibility. You have to take responsibility for yourself. You know, it's not about, oh, I got low self-esteem now, so I need to lose weight. No, it's that I said that this is who I am, so I have to be that. Okay. If I say I'm a podcaster, then I have to produce podcasts, right? If I say that I'm a chef, then I have to be able, you know, to know how to use one of these, right? Okay, there's certain expectations. It's not fucking rocket science. Just be who you say you are. And if you're not good at something, then tell people that you're not good at it so they don't have that expectation of you, and live your life playing to your strengths. That way you can deliver what you say you are, and people aren't looking at you like you're an asshole or like you're fake when you don't deliver. End of story. It's not that hard.
Person would say, but not Enlightened Joe, because Enlightened Joe can't take responsibility for his own actions because he's a narcissist. So you really...
Yeah, it's like, if you didn't really want to take me camping, don't tell me that you're going to take me camping.
But with Daryl the whole time, Enlightened Joe was just to rein you in, but Daryl was the one that's feeding parasitically off of your essence and your approval. Why? Because a narcissist needs validation for people outside himself. Why?
Sound familiar? Is the Democratic Party not feeding off of our fear, feeding off of our differences and the fear of the differences? Isn't that what they've been doing for the last 4 or 5 decades? Feeding off of the fear of not being successful, feeding off of the fear of not being accepted. Isn't that what they do?
Need validation, because just like anybody who makes up anything imaginary, in order for it to be real, somebody outside themselves has to acknowledge the presence of it. Nothing exists, okay? Nothing exists outside your own mind as real unless somebody else acknowledges it, okay? This is why the government hides shit, because if don't nobody else see it but one motherfucker, nigga, they can say you crazy. But if 50 people say, hey, we saw that shit, you can't say they crazy. So when it comes to a narcissist, when they create this image of who they are in their mind, nobody got to believe that shit. So technically they crazy. But if you confirm in your mind what they created in their mind, now they have somebody to parasitically feed off, and you're there.
And who are they feeding off of now? Who is the Democratic Party feeding off of now? I'll wait. Let's take a wild guess here. Who are they feeding off of now? More than anything. More than the commies, more than the Black Lives Matter, more than the Antifa. Who are they really feeding off of? Children. See, even in the millennial generation, even in Generation X, my generation, a lot of us have some morality. A lot of us have parents who raised us with some morality. Okay, that's why we're here. That's why we're walking away. So they're not going to be able to get everyone who's between, I don't know, 24 and 30 right now. Okay, but right now they're targeting the kids. They're targeting my kid. They're using the TikTok to teach children to disrespect authority. They're using the TikTok and the Face app to groom children for pedophilia. They're just bypassing us as parents, completely bypassing us, and teaching children from a young age that communism is equality. Communism is good. Just like, you know, greed is good, they're coming up with the communism is good. Sitting at home is good. Smoking weed all day is good. Talking back to your boss is good. Disrespecting your teacher is good, because it's fighting for your personal rights. It's fighting for your Black rights. It's fighting for your women's rights. It's bullshit. Okay? It's bullshit.
And so this is what makes them a narcissist, or if they're not a narcissist and they have this trait, this is what makes your partner toxic. And so if you're in a relationship with a person who does these types of things.
You ever know a guy who would rather date stupid fucking women than to get one good woman in his life? Because you know that this is the type of man who does not want to be challenged, and a good woman will demand more of him. A good woman will require a little bit more responsibility and integrity. So they purposely avoid going out on dates, or they'll go out on dates with good women and then they'll ghost them, okay? Because they want stupid girls that are easily manipulated and are easy to control. And women do the same thing. You know men like this, and you know women like this, and this is what the narcissistic party is doing. There's some people who are still intelligent enough to see through their bullshit, so they're just going to go straight to the kids.
Okay, whether it could be whatever. Hit you, cheat on you, you know, blow money, whatever the type of things people do in a relationship, and you confront them about these things, then you're the motherfucking problem. Oh, you're dealing with a narcissist, or you're dealing with a toxic person. Now let me get a disclaimer here, because sometimes, you know, you might be the problem, and I'm not saying for those specific things, but sometimes.
Hey, and for people like me, until I can learn to break that curse, until I can learn to break it energetically, because I've definitely trust me, my conscious mind has broken through it. I can see the warning signs. I know what to look for. As soon as they come into my life, turn around and get the fuck out of my life. They don't stay in my life long. Trust me. I don't play that shit no more. Okay. So the thing is, you have to recognize if you have something called codependency. You can have codependency and not even fucking know. You could think that you are the most confident, secure person in the world. I thought that I was. I still think that I am. I don't see any point in my life where I wasn't confident. I didn't necessarily hate myself. I hated the world because everybody's stupid, and I still hate the world. I don't even know if this is worth doing. I don't even know if the world is worth saving right now, to be honest with you. But I'm going to try anyway, you know, at least for my daughter, you know, I got to try for her.
Way your partner might not be interested in you. So I'm not saying exclusively, you know, if your partner's doing things outside of you or expressing themselves outside of you, they're a narcissist or a toxic person. So I'm hoping that you can watch this video and maturely use discernment and see the direction I'm trying to go. You should not be using this video.
A lot of times when I in a lot of Ollie Matthews videos, what I have noticed over the years is that occasionally he'll actually get a letter from someone who is a narcissist, but they don't know that they're the narcissist because they are covertly narcissist. And if you don't know what the difference between an overt and a covert narcissist is, definitely Google that, because it's a very interesting dynamic. And you really, if you study this, you need to learn what a covert narcissist is, because those are the ones that come in as enlightened Joe. Okay, those are the Democrats, those are the progressives. Those are the humanitarians that go and start nonprofits, but really they're vanity projects. They're virtue signaling vanity projects. They're not real humanitarians. They're not real progressives. They're just playing progressive because it gets them attention. It gets them sympathy. It gets them money.
It's a weaponized tool of information to shoot at, stab at, and attack your partner metaphorically for their behavior patterns, you know, to get your rocks off. This video right here is for you to be a mature adult and say, hey, I have a problem in my relationship that I can fix, or I'm actually with a toxic or narcissistic person, and carry it on. Okay? These are important. Those are flags. Okay? Flags. Flags. Straight flags. And so once again, the traits of a narcissist. They're arrogant. Okay? They need validation from others. Okay? They're not never wrong. Okay? Period. And they're a little bit empathetic, and they only feel shame when they get caught, okay, on a public scale. Now, also, they don't know how to love, okay, and once again, as I said again, they're never wrong. And the reason that narcissists don't know how to love, and I'm going to say this one last time, the reason that narcissists don't know how to love is because they don't know how to take another person's feelings and how they envision their lives going into consideration. This is why they don't know how to love. So this is one of the most important things, and I know I just touched on this topic, but I'm going to expand on it a little further before I go. A narcissist will let you into their life as long as you fit their agenda. When you start to do...
Sound familiar?
Anything that glitches the matrix, aka glitches their little fantasy and image of reality and how they see themselves, now you got to go. Now,
where do you think the cancel culture comes from? It comes from this temperamental, emotional, hyper-reactive, narcissistic traits. Okay, this is where it comes from. This is where cancel culture comes from. And this is also why the circle of the Democratic Party is getting smaller and smaller and smaller. Because what happens when you keep canceling people? What happens when you keep alienating people that are supposed to be on the same team? What happens when you keep infighting? What happens when you keep pointing fingers at each other? The circle's going to get smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller. Didn't that happen in Animal Farm? Hello? Hello? Who read in high school? Who read books in high school and middle school? For everyone who went to school and who read books, didn't that happen in Animal Farm? It started out with everyone being equal, and then you had your laborers, you had your nurturers, you had your intellectuals, and then you had the inner circle of elites. And the inner circle of elites dictated the muscle. They went straight for the children, taking the children from the mother. Remember, they took the puppies from the mom? Okay, and raised them to be their little fucking Hitler Houdins. They're Hitler Houdins. Remember that? Don't I always tell you how it started? It starts with the minds of children.
The problem, now everything's your fault. They don't take into consideration how you feel, okay?
Everything is Trump's fault. Trump, 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 Trump. Donald Trump. Fuck Donald Trump. Fuck Donald Trump. Everything's Trump's fault, right?
They don't take into consideration how you think. What you like doesn't matter, okay? And once again, a narcissist does not care enough about you to allow you to enjoy your own moments of happiness. And they feel so self-entitled that they feel like they have to be the reason for your happiness when you are happy. For example, okay, if you get 100 on your test.
For example, if you don't vote for me, you ain't black.
A narcissist can't just say, I'm glad you went in there and passed that test. Congratulations. A narcissist has to say, you would have never got 100 on that test if it wasn't for me helping you study.
Well, we're the ones who gave you $15 minimum wage. And we're the ones who gave you food stamps. And we're the ones who will protect your Section 8 so you don't get kicked out. And we're the ones who are going to make sure that every man, woman, and child has medical care. And we're the ones who are going to make sure that we rob from the rich and give to the poor. But just make sure that, but we'll do the accounting. We'll manage the ledger in between. We're not going to give you the money. We'll give it to you as we see fit. That's what they're really saying. That's what they're really saying. And they feel entitled to your vote because they pretended to stand by your causes when you were bitching about being a victim. Or maybe they told you, or maybe it was, a case of one imitating the other. They told you for so many decades that you were a victim, and because they were the messenger, they now feel entitled to any success that you have. They now feel entitled to your money. They feel entitled to your children. They feel entitled to your vote.
They feel entitled and obligated to say that to you. You can't just have your own. You can't just win on your own. They gotta say, well, you would have never won if I wasn't a part of it. Okay?
We fought for your rights.
Use themselves in the situation. That's a narcissist, okay? If you would just say, hey, okay, I'm getting married next week. A narcissist would just say, hey, I'm happy for you, girl. I'm happy for you, bro. A normal person would say, I'm happy for you, girl. I'm happy for you, bro. A narcissist would say, well, you better be glad you would never be getting married if I didn't teach you what type of person you need to be with. If I didn't introduce, they have to infuse themselves into taking credit in your situation some way, somehow. Okay? Now, we're not saying that some situations people don't deserve their credit. Yes, they do. But in every situation, okay, you should not be trying to make yourself the reasoning for another person's happiness. And so a narcissist will never allow you to be happy around them unless, A, they're the reason for your happiness, or for two, they feel like they're allowing you a moment of happiness.
Possessive.
A narcissist cannot.
What did I say? I say narcissists are possessive. The Democrats are possessive. That's why they don't like us. That's why a female, a tranny, a gay person, a Muslim, a Mexican, okay, even an illegal who thinks for themselves is the biggest threat to their narcissistic, grandiose persona and facade that they try to put in the public eye.
Feel like you are up, or you are at a high level of happiness or vibration or joy outside of their control or outside of their permission, if you see where I'm going with this. And I'm trying to be specific so that y'all don't be misdiagnosing the conditions in this video and use them on people. So that being said, once again, a narcissist will not allow you to be happy or will not allow you to feel joy outside of themselves feeling they're the reason you've been permitted to do so. So if they don't feel like I'm the reason this person is happy, or I'm allowing this person to be happy, or I'm the reason this person is having this moment, or I'm allowing this person to have this moment, then they can't have it, okay? Or they shouldn't be having it, or let me come shut this down. That's how a narcissist feels.
I'm gonna go ahead and stop it there. I feel like that pretty much covers what a narcissist is. And I think if you see the connections, you can see why, as I did my own journey of healing from my own narcissistic abuse from my parents and many men, I had to also open my eyes to seeing how the same tactics that the narcissist uses of silent treatment, aka cancel culture, or gaslighting, aka turning everything around on Trump, or turning everything around on us, the deplorables, okay? Because I'm a deplorable now. I wasn't a deplorable then. I wish I had been. I wish I had gotten in this fight 3 years ago when I saw the media lying on Donald Trump, and I still felt like I was obligated to vote for Hillary, and I did. And I felt like if I didn't vote for Hillary, then I wasn't going to be a part of the team anymore. And I thought I was playing for the right side. I thought I was playing for the good guys. Thought I was playing for the humanitarians. But you see, they're not oppressed. Law-abiding citizens are the ones who are oppressed. And it took me a long time to realize that. And when I finally did, everything changed, you know? And I finally came out of the closet and shocked the shit out of everyone, and lost a lot of followers, eventually lost, well, back in January, I lost my LinkedIn account for someone was trying to cyberbully me over some feminist bullshit, and I wasn't having it. And I lost my Instagram account 2 weeks ago, and I don't even know why. I was given no explanation, nothing, no warning, no strike, no suspension, nothing, no email, nothing, just wiped clean from the face of the planet. I need to do an AI video about how I think that, I could be just paranoid, but how I think it all plays together in other areas of my life, but we'll get to that another time. But anyway, go follow Young Pharoh, go follow Ollie Matthews. He does some great political videos, some great societal narcissism videos. He lays it all out. He knows every trick in the book, and he's been doing this for years. So he's really the best at it. But I wanted to show you Young Pharoh because I feel like he did a very, very concise, that was only about 13 minutes of footage. So very concise, really good video, and really informative, educating, and supporting. You're not crazy. You went home after that relationship. You went home wondering, how fucking stupid was I to get fooled again? I fell in love with another enlightened Joe, or I fell in love with another enlightened Pam again. And you beat yourself up and you wonder what the fuck is wrong with you, and you can never figure it out until you learn who these psychos really are and how to protect yourself from them. And we did the same we're doing the same when we walk away. We had to learn, we had to go through that grieving period of looking back and saying, how fucking stupid was I? Why did I vote Democrat year after year after year? Why did I keep signing those bills and those petitions to keep raising those taxes year after year after year, and we never saw an improvement in the roads? We never saw an improvement in the homeless problem. We never saw an improvement in the educational system after 2, 3 fucking decades. In certain parts of this country, it's been 100 years of Democratic control, and they've never seen any improvement. And we're like, oh my God, we're so fucking stupid. And then finally, you learn to fucking stop the bleeding. And that's what I did. It's like, you know what? Take my fucking money, okay? Let me just pay all my bills. Let me get my credit under control. Let me make some moves and stop feeling scared and stop feeling like I need to procrastinate and I need to wait until I'm perfect and wait until this and wait until that, until I get started. Giving myself reasons and excuses not to fucking get out of my comfort zone. And we do the same thing politically. We give ourselves reasons not to fucking walk away. We say, you know what? I'm going to lose my job. And I need my job, okay? And if you have kids and, then you're exempt, okay? Whatever, okay? But then there's other things, we don't want to tell our families. We don't want to speak up in conversations. We don't want to defend Donald Trump when we hear people speaking lies about him. We don't want to speak up and defend the police when we hear people speaking lies about them. If you're with me from Instagram and you remember when that BLM protester chased me and fucking hit my car with that metal sandwich board and broke my mirror, remember that? I have to do a video. I have to even tell you guys about that. Y'all don't know the story, okay? Because my Instagram account got fucking dumped and I didn't download the fucking, well, actually I have the video, but we'll talk about that later. But we keep making excuses for the violence. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez is making excuses. Oh, they need food. I don't see no one walking out with food. Niggas is walking out with TVs. Okay? They need food, but yet we can't get the EMTs to the fentanyl overdoses in fucking Manhattan, in the Lower East Side, in the Lower West Side. People are dying. There are dead bodies in the street, and AOC don't want to talk about that, but she wants to make excuses. It's bullshit. Okay, we come up with reasons why we can't come out of the closet. We come up with reasons why we shouldn't donate, we shouldn't comment, we shouldn't reshare. And I'm not telling anybody to do anything. Do whatever the fuck you want to. I'm just saying, let's examine the psychology of it. Is perhaps the same bullshit that makes us codependent, the same bullshit that kept us on the Democratic side for so long? Think about it. Is there a correlation? There might be. Because I know one thing, as soon as you break out of that pattern and start feeling confident about yourself, that's when you start attracting better people into your life. If you try it, I promise you it works. I have some good people in my life right now, and they came into my life very fast. And that's because every day I try to think of ways to just take one step forward, just one little step forward, and not be stagnant, not be a victim. The white man did not make me make the poor financial decisions that I made. The white man did not make me trust the people that I trusted and get fucked over by the people I got fucked over by. Those were all my choices. So I need to examine, actually the whole black race needs to examine, are y'all fucked up because the white man has got his control on you? Or are you fucked up because you have no fucking self-control and you have no strategy? And as soon as you get some self-control and you get some strategy, you become conservative by default, whether you realize it or not. So it's really not that big of a jump. It really isn't. The cultural fight, the war, the mental war happening right now is the war between those who want to accept responsibility and those who don't. So think about it. All right, guys, thank you. And